Hey everyone, Jonathan here, and I just got back from New York City where I was at the final Kiss concert ever, December 2nd, 2023, Madison Square Garden, and it was absolutely electrifying. In this video, I want to walk you through what the entire experience was like from getting to the garden to walking out, and really just document what it was like to be there for the final Kiss performance. After 50 years, it's pretty insane that Kiss is finally done, at least as a physical band. We'll talk about the Avatar stuff at the end, but it was really fun. I had gotten in the night before, and we headed over to the venue because Kiss was playing December 1st and December 2nd. So our tickets were for the 2nd, but on December 1st, we went through and we got to see everybody outside after the show in makeup, and it was so awesome. So after that, on Saturday morning, we actually went down to the Kiss pop-up store where the Kiss brand rented an entire building out, and they turned it into a museum and a pop-up shop with all kinds of Kiss merchandise. Now, we had to wait, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half outside in line, but we got there before they opened, so the first hour or so was just waiting for them to open. Anyways, when we walked inside, they had all kinds of cool memorabilia there, like Paul and Gene's boots, guitars on the walls, and some of their actual outfits from Creatures of the Night and even Dynasty downstairs. But when we got downstairs, it turns out pretty much everything was sold out already. The t-shirts were all gone unless you needed like a 5XL or something. All the, scarves were gone, so I ended up just getting this gold Kiss coin. Still pretty cool. It is what it is. But it was definitely a bummer to not be able to buy like hardly anything because they were all sold out. Anyways, that brings us to showtime. But before we talk about the show, I do want to let you guys know my friend Brody and I designed a Lego Kiss set. So we need all the support we can get from the Kiss Army. If you would click the link in the description of this video, you can support the set. And if we get enough supporters, Lego will actually consider making it into a real set. So let's get those supporter numbers up, and thanks so much for that. Anyways, now let's get into the garden. When showtime rolled around, the electric feeling was in the air. It was just incredible. As you were walking up to and into the garden, you could tell everybody there had this excitement, but it was like, I felt a somber excitement, right? Everybody knew that this was the last time. This was the last hottest band in the world, the last God gave rock and roll to you on the way out, just everything. This is it. And knowing that this was it, it was kind of cool to be walking into the venue and into our seats and be looking around at everybody and know that we were in for the Kiss fan experience of a lifetime. And I think that that played into the excitement of the night as we were all taking our seats, knowing that we were having this shared unified experience as Kiss fans, knowing that this is it. After this, no more live Kiss. I'm sure Paul and Gene are going to do stuff solo, but, as far as the makeup and the banner dropping and everything, this was the final one. And it was really cool. I know there was a girl in our row that had the full Star Child makeup on, and they had these little wristbands that lit up during the show, and everybody was excited about those as we took our seats, but we didn't have the best seats in the venue, I'll be the first to say. I bought them on StubHub about 6-7 weeks before the show. Paid way too much money for them, but we were there, and that's all that mattered. So the set list was pretty much what it's been for the entire end of the road tour. I saw Kiss in 2019 in Nashville. It was an awesome show, and that was my first Kiss show, and the final one was my second Kiss show. As far as I could tell, I believe the set lists were exactly the same, and I don't remember the banter between songs, but a lot of that felt the same too. That's kind of where the night started to fall apart for me, is Paul did tell a couple stories about being a cab driver and, driving people to Madison Square Garden when Elvis was playing there and telling them that he was going to play there someday, which was very, very touching to hear. And he also talked about being able to see his parents in the crowd the very first time he played at the Garden. So it was cool to get some of those anecdotes. Gene really did not have very much to say to the audience, interestingly enough. As we know, the end of the road tour is pretty much scripted from start to finish in a lot of ways between the pyrotechnics and the stage banter, but I really thought with it being the last show we would get a lot more special speaking time from Paul and Gene, but really there was some, but not nearly to the level that I'd expect after 50 years, you know what I mean? So as far as the set list goes, it was pretty much the same as the entire end of the road tour, at least this last leg of it. I loved hearing War Machine. Gosh, it's just such an amazing song. I love when, Gene gets sent up into the stratosphere for God of Thunder. That was awesome as well. And seeing Paul come across the audience for Love Gun never gets old. Just so much fun. And I think that that's where I want to start to wrap things up here. Kiss, to me, as a live band, is just a ton of fun. It's a great time to go spend a couple hours, unplug from the world, and just plug into the world of Kiss. And I have always loved that about the band. And I'm grateful that I got to see them twice, one of those 2 times being the final show. Now, when it comes to the final show, we've got to talk about the avatars. Ugh. I understand that people are excited about this. I really do get the excitement that, Kiss as a band can technically live on forever digitally now, and they're kind of pushing new ground with that. I know ABBA did something, years back, but this is pretty new for Kiss, and I definitely think that it can appeal to a younger fan base if they, break out the lore for the characters. That's very fun, but overall, it really felt like an emotional whiplash, honestly, because the band finished playing Rock and Roll All Night and everybody's emotions are everywhere, and it was super exciting. And then as soon as the song's over, Paul says, the end is just the beginning and Kiss is gonna live forever and da 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 da. And I get it. I get capitalizing on the fact that you've got an audience full of people that are going to go out and talk about this after the show. I really do get it. I really do, from a marketing standpoint. But I wish that they could have waited a day or a week and just let everybody kind of simmer and enjoy the fact that Kiss played their last show. I mean, is that not historic enough? Now, for all of history, people are going to talk about Kiss's last show and talk about the avatars rather than just celebrate the band's legacy as one of the greatest live bands ever to hit the stage. So, to me, I am cautiously optimistic with what could happen with the avatars. I think that the footage we've seen, the behind-the-scenes footage, definitely makes it a lot more interesting than it appeared at the show when we were watching it on those big screens. But overall, I just wish that we could have let the show be its own thing, and then maybe like a week after the show we talk about the avatars, but from a marketing standpoint, I do get it. Now, when it comes to the set list, there are a couple things that I thought were kind of glaring omissions. I really would have loved to have heard Hotter Than Hell on this tour, just big song for Kiss. Strutter has been off the set list for quite some time, and that's the first song that brought me into the band in 2006 with Guitar Hero 2. So I get that that's a very hard song to sing vocally, but I would have liked to hear Strutter at this show. And I think that's another thing they could have done to make this show a little bit more special is play some extra songs. Now, the big thing, of course, is Paul has been singing to backing tracks. We know this. It's out there. It's not a secret. But even so, I think it would have been really nice to hear some extra songs or maybe do an extra long show. Maybe just 3 or 4 extra songs. Maybe do Plastercaster, which they do in the sound checks. Just add something to the show. I get with the pyrotechnics that everything has to be lined up perfectly on time. I really do get it. I'm just saying it is the last show, and to think that they couldn't have done something a little bit extra, I don't know. Now, on the topic of Paul singing to backing tracks, I have to be honest. The videos from the concert that you're going to see online do not do justice to how good it sounded in person. I know that this event was also done on pay-per-view. I have not seen the pay-per-view yet. I am planning to. I just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I thought it sounded great in person. I'd watched all the video clips beforehand and thought, man, they're not sounding so good vocally. But in person, it was absolutely flawless. But in the video clips, I do get how people were criticizing it. I don't know how to explain it. It sounded great in person. That's all I can say. But with that, we'll bring this video to a close. It was an absolute honor of a lifetime to be at the final show, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Were you at the show? Did you watch it on pay-per-view? Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, let's just celebrate 50 years of Kiss. It's been a great ride, and it was an honor to be there all the way to the end of the road.